Nobody there.
Hey, Chair, you are live.
Thank you. Prior to calling this meeting to order, we will now read the Pembroke Land Acknowledgement Statement. As we gather today, I would respectfully acknowledge on behalf of the council and the community that the city of Pembroke resides on the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We thank the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. It is with this statement that we honor and respect the Algonquins on whose land we reside. I now call this meeting to order, and can we have approval of the agenda, please? Moved by Ian, seconded by Marcel. All in favor?
Can I make a?
Yes.
In speaking with the applicant from the diocese, I understand that he wishes for his item 6A to be tabled. So I would move that we table item 6A in this agenda process.
Is there a seconder? Second. Thank you, Romeo. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much, Ian. Item 2. Okay, thank you very much. Z-1 2024 163 Peter Street, Jason Turcott. I'm sorry?
You need to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Approve. I guess we better do that. Can we have an approval of the minutes of the November the 27th, 23? Moved by Jose, seconded by Ian. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you very much. Thank you. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Seeing none, now we'll continue to item B, Z-1 2024 163 Peter Street, Jason Turcott. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
The applicant, Jason Turcott, has submitted a site plan proposing an addition of 3 dwelling units to an existing duplex, being 2 dwelling units, at 163 Peter Street. This would make it a converted dwelling with a total of 5 dwelling units. The property is currently zoned residential type 1 R1 by the zoning bylaw. While the R1 zoning generally only permits single detached dwellings, and a minimum of an R2 zoning is usually required to permit a duplex, according to the Treasury's electronic records, the property has been billed accordingly for 2 dwelling units since electronic record keeping began in 2007. Therefore, it is likely that the property may be considered legal nonconforming. That stated, a zoning bylaw amendment is now required to permit further proposed intensification. The proposed residential type 3 45 zoning is required to permit a converted dwelling, as well as to provide site-specific relief to allow for said converted dwelling to have a maximum of 5 dwelling units and to address the deficiencies itemized in your reports, that being minimum lot frontage, minimum interior side yard, and landscaping requirements. All other standard R3 provisions for converted dwellings are met or exceeded, including minimum requirements for lot area, front yard setback, rear yard setback, lot depth, landscaped open space, at minimum dwelling unit area, and maximum building height. Therefore, the application can be viewed as being in keeping with the intent of the zoning bylaw. The proposed R3 45 zoning is compatible with the surrounding area, which has an already diverse mixture of zoning. Immediately abutting the property to the north is an R4 zone and an R2-14 zone. To the east and rear of the property is an R4-27 zone. Only to the immediate south is an R1 zone, but even this property has an existing duplex dwelling. As such, the neighborhood already has many examples of higher density residential zoning, and therefore, the proposed zoning can be viewed as being compatible within the surrounding area. Regarding parking, The zoning bylaw requires 1.5 parking spaces per dwelling unit for converted dwellings. In the case of this application, that puts this number of required parking spaces at 8. This requirement is met. However, in order to accommodate this parking requirement on the property, relief is necessary from another section of the zoning bylaw that requires a buffer strip of 9.85 feet around a parking area providing more than 4 off-street parking spaces in a yard that abuts a lot in a residential zone. The proposed site plan, it does show a 10-foot buffer strip along the southern line of the property to which 7 of the 8 parking spaces abut. But no buffer strip is shown along the northern property line to which the single 8th parking space abuts. Now, this lack of buffer strip can be mitigated by the fact that at the location of the 8th parking spot, abutting it is a detached garage as opposed to any primary residential use. Regarding the official plan, 163 Peter Street is designated residential. This application is strongly in keeping with this intent of the official plan. According to a section of the official plan, the City of Pembroke will encourage all forms of residential intensification that creates a potential supply of new housing units. This will be encouraged in built-up areas of the city where there's sufficient existing or planned infrastructure to accommodate such development. Council's policy is that through the intensification of land use involving infill, redevelopment, and the conversion of existing buildings, the Pembroke will continue to accommodate new residential units within an already built-up area. The proposed zoning is strongly in keeping with this direction in the official plan, as the addition of 3 new dwelling units in an already built-up area will contribute to new housing stock through intensification. The official plan further aims to promote efficient and pleasant residential environments, and that neighborhoods shall be maintained to include such facilities as a school, park, local shopping facilities, a community center, and a library. The property is within a 1-kilometer radius of Highview Public School and Cathedral Catholic Elementary School, Pansy Patch Park, Kinsman Park, Waterfront Park, and the Algonquin Trail, downtown Pembroke and Pembroke Street East commercial amenities, the Kinsman Pool, and Pembroke Public Library. The official plan further states that a neighborhood is an area in which safe pedestrian movement between all parts shall be promoted. Sidewalks constructed to an appropriate municipal standard on one side of any local or collector road or 2 sides for an arterial road. Peter Street and most of the local roads in this area exceed this standard with sidewalks on both sides of the road. This makes for efficient and safe pedestrian movement within the neighborhood. Regarding vehicular movement, 163 Peter Street is located in the middle of a block bounded by Nelson Street to the north and Pembroke Street East to the south. Schedule B of the official plan designates Nelson Street as a collector road and Pembroke Street East as an arterial road. This means that 163 Peter Street is particularly well located for efficient east-west vehicular movement within the city. The official plan goes on to state that all residential development shall be adequately serviced with municipal water and sewer services, subject to prior verification that there is adequate capacity. Full water and sanitary sewer servicing exists to the building, and the requirement for a building permit for the proposed addition will trigger the approval of the operations department to ensure adequate servicing capacity. The Provincial Policy Statement 2020 states that land use patterns within settlement areas shall be based on a range of uses and opportunities for intensification and redevelopment where this can be accommodated. This application promotes intensification by providing 3 additional dwelling units in this area of the city and simultaneously increasing the mixture of housing density options. Therefore, this application is consistent with the current provincial policy statement. And therefore, the planning department is recommending the approval of the zoning bylaw amendment application for 163 Peter Street from a residential type 1 zone to a residential type 3-45 zone, as the application is in keeping with the intents of the zoning bylaw, official plan, and provincial policy statement.
Thank you. And Mr. Hutton, were there any submissions received regarding the application?
No submissions nor inquiries were received prior to the meeting. However, it is my understanding that there is a member of the public in the audience who may like to speak to the application. As well, the applicant, Jason Turcotte, is also present to represent his application.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Turcott, would you like to speak on behalf of the application?
Yeah, sure. So the building that we're going to put on the back is basically almost the same size as the one in the front, and I think it's going to be a nice addition to the neighborhood. It's going to look good, and it's going to be brand new, 1,100 square foot apartments.
Okay.
With a nice view of the river. And we're going to keep lots of trees and all that sort of stuff. And I think it's not really going to stick out by any means. It should blend right into the neighborhood.
Okay. Any questions to Mr. Turcott okay. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak to the application?
There is no one else present who would like to speak to the application, Mr.
Thank you
Chair.
very much. If not, then there are no comments. Can we have a decision moved by Ian, seconded by Marcel? All in favor of this application?
I was wanted to
Oh,
comment.
sorry. Yeah.
Comments on the application.
Yeah, thank you.
I have no problem with the application. Matter of fact, it's the area.
Oh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I have no problem with the application, but I did want to comment that this particular development intensification is in the perfect area. It's all around, everything around it is multi-use. And it's nice to see that we have individuals that are trying to assist the city, which in turn is compelled by the province to intensify, especially in the areas where there's been existing buildings. And so I certainly support it. I do have a little bit of a comment, I guess. Being a regular swimmer of the swimming pool for many, many years, it behooves me to see the fact that it is being looked upon here as a positive to be near the Kinsman Pool whenever its existence is tenuous at best. I'd feel more comfortable if you didn't mention the fact it's close to the Kinsman Pool because we don't even know if it's going to exist. But anyways, that's just my point to put a little dig in here on that particular issue.
Thank you, Romeo. Any other comments? Yes, Ian.
Well, I'm sure Romeo will be happy to hear that there is a tentative agreement from the Township of Laurentian Valley to fund up to $420,000, which is more than the 25% that the city was looking for when the city in its budget agreed to fund 75%, looking for the other 25. So I think we are about looking as positively as we have been for some time on the particular pool issue. Thank you for the opportunity to announce that one. And what I will say to Jason is, or Mr. Turcott, this is precisely the type of thing that the city of Pembroke needs. Apartments, as Jose and I were just talking about, are badly needed in this area. We have a very we have a very different population compared to many other small towns, with soldiers coming and leaving from the base, with Algonquin College or whatnot. Our rents locally are extremely high, and I think one of the best ways to help bring rents down is, in fact, supply and demand. So I look at this one with immense favoritism, and I think this is exactly the type of thing and the type of creativity that developers should be looking for. So I certainly personally thank you for taking this on.
Thank you, Ian. Any further comments? And I think we voted on, have we yet? No, okay, yeah, okay. All in favor of the motion. Thank you very much.
Romeo interrupted that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is Z2 24 240 McKay Street, Jason Turcott. Owen, can we have, yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The applicant, Jason Turcott, has submitted a site plan proposing the conversion of the existing building at 240 McKay Street, which was previously a medical clinic, to a converted dwelling of 6 dwelling units. The property is currently zoned central commercial dash slope stability by the zoning bylaw. Specifically to the C3 zoning, this allows for dwelling units above or below ground floor non-residential uses. However, a converted dwelling being a fully residential use is therefore not permitted and a zoning bylaw amendment is required. Regarding the slope stability marker of the zoning, which is both in the current zoning and would be in the proposed zoning, this indicates that no development shall be permitted within 30 meters of the top of the bank unless a supporting geotechnical study indicates that this can be reduced. However, as no expansion of the existing building footprint nor any new development outside of it is being proposed by this application, the proposed redevelopment within the existing building is permitted despite the S marker. The proposed residential type 3-46 zoning is required to permit a converted dwelling, as well as to provide site-specific relief to allow for said converted dwelling to have a maximum of 6 dwelling units within the existing building. All other requirements for a converted dwelling in an R3 zone are able to be met or exceeded, including requirements for minimums lot area, lot frontage, front yard setback, rear yard setback, interior side yard setback, lot depth, and dwelling unit area. By meeting and or exceeding all of these applicable zoning requirements, this application is very strongly in keeping with the intent of the zoning bylaw. The proposed zoning is highly compatible within the surrounding area. The east side of McKay Street opposite the property is lined with numerous converted dwellings in various residential special exception zones. The area to the east beyond McKay Street is almost solely residentially zoned, again with densities ranging from R2 to R4 special exception zones. Regarding parking, all applicable parking requirements, including number of spaces, size of spaces, and access driveways, are able to be met using the existing parking area on the property. Currently, the property has, and it previously utilized, 2 separate ingress/egress lanes onto McKay Street. At the recommendation of the planning department, the applicant will close the existing southern ingress/egress to only use the existing northern ingress/egress. This will reduce the amount of access lanes onto McKay Street, which is a busy collector road, improving the safety not only of the property itself, but also of the surrounding area. 240 McKay Street is currently designated central commercial by the official plan 2016. According to the official plan, the central commercial classification of land means the predominant use of land in areas so designated shall be for the buying and selling of goods and services. As such, while the past use of the property as a medical clinic did meet this intent of the official plan, the proposed solely residential use would requires an approved official plan amendment. The proposed residential designation, official plan designation, would support the full use of the property as residential. According to the official plan, as you heard in my last report, the city of Pembroke will encourage all forms of residential intensification that creates a potential supply of new housing units. This application is strongly in keeping with this direction in the official plan, as the proposed conversion of the existing building and redevelopment of the property will contribute to new housing stock in an already built up area. Regarding the official plan's aims of efficient and pleasant residential environments and neighborhoods within a 1 kilometer radius of 240 McKay Street, there is Highview Public School, Cathedral Catholic Elementary School, Equinox Public School, Bishop Smith Catholic High School, and Algonquin College. There is Pansy Patch Park, Kinsman Park, Waterfront Park, and the Algonquin Trail. Downtown Pembroke, I'm sorry, Mr. Levisser, but Kinsman Pool. Pembroke Memorial Center, and Pembroke Public Library. The official plan states that regarding sidewalks, that a neighborhood is an area in which safe pedestrian movement between all parts shall be promoted. In this case, McKay Street and most of the local roads in the area exceed the standard with sidewalks on both sides of the road, making for efficient and safe pedestrian movement within the neighborhood. Regarding vehicular traffic, McKay Street is designated as a collector road by Schedule B of the official plan. Further, Pembroke Streets east and west, the city's sole arterial roadway, are within 400 feet north of the property, and another collector road, Mary Street, is within 400 feet south of the property. This means that 240 McKay Street is incredibly well located for efficient vehicular movement within the city. The official plan states that all residential development shall be adequately serviced with municipal water and sewer services. And while full water and sanitary sewer services exist to the existing building, the requirement for a building permit for the proposed conversion will trigger the approval of the operations department to ensure adequate capacity. The provincial policy statement, again, as I noted in my last report, states that land use patterns within settlement areas shall be based on a range of uses and opportunities for intensification and redevelopment where this can be accommodated. This application strongly promotes residential redevelopment by proposing 6 new residential dwelling units in a currently vacant existing building. Therefore, the planning department is recommending the approval of the official plan and zoning bylaw amendments application for 240 McKay Street from a central commercial to a residential official plan designation and from a central commercial slope stability C3-S zone to a residential type 3-46- slope stability zone, as the application is in keeping with the intents of the zoning bylaw, official plan, and provincial policy statement.
Thank you. Mr. Hutton, were there any submissions received regarding the application?
An informational inquiry was received. No submissions of opposition were received. And again, we do have Mr. Jason Turcotte here present to support and represent his application.
Good, thank you. Is there anyone who else other than Mr. Turcotte would like to speak to the application? Mr. Turcotte, would you like to support it in some way? Or thank you.
So the building, it'll be completely brand new when it's finished and new, like you won't recognize it when it's finished. All new windows and siding and all that sort of stuff. So it'll be it'll clean it up really nice. And that's actually
great. Thank you. Yes.
Perhaps an inquiry on maybe we might have require.
Yeah.
Something to remind myself of what used to be an existing situation in that property. And I'm just wondering, and maybe our planner might have the answer. The easement that used to exist there for the old CN property, does it still exist? And if it does, does the city own that? Or does this property go right to the river high water mark?
So the easement was dealt with.
Sorry.
Yeah, the easement goes through Stinson's, this property, and Tim Hortons. But the surveyor changed the easement to push it back on the property, sort of thing. And I have a copy of it back in my office.
Did that give you more property?
No, it didn't. The easement went right through all the buildings, like from way back when. It went through Stinson's, this building, and Tim Hortons, like right through the middle of it. But the on my property, anyways, it got pushed back to the back, sort of thing. They just changed it. It's obsolete, really, but they did change it, so it's on title, sort of thing.
Any further? Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't have any further specifics on this at this time, but I believe Ms. Sorial may want to speak to it.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, there are several easements on this property. I believe the one that Romeo Levisser is referring to is at the back of the property. So it would be on the slope portion. And it was going to be a walkway at some point, or could be potentially be a walkway that would connect the waterfront. So that is still there as far as I know. The easement that Mr. Turcotte is referring to was there was it was either I think it was a sanitary easement, and there was issues with banks issuing mortgages with this easement, the second easement underneath the building. So the city didn't require the whole width of that easement. So we said that we would, if they resurveyed the easement and the easement was shown outside of the building footprint, the city would accept that, because that's exactly where the sanitary sewer was. It wasn't underneath the building. So that's hopefully a little bit of an explanation about the two different easements.
Yes.
A follow-up question, perhaps to some of the people who are new, who a long time ago, there was always a thought about having a walking path that we join the city hall here and maybe go under the bridge and make its way and connect to Pansy Patch Park. That's something that existed in the minds of planners. And I was just kind of wondering if the possibility of a walking path from Pembroke Street to Mary Street along the river edge there is still possible.
Yes, I believe it is, that it's still there, yes.
It's still there.
It's still there.
Maybe we put a bug in our councilor's ear about that. Anyway, I just wanted to say that I want to ask if there are, first of all, you took care of what my major concern with this particular application was the double ingress and egress, but that's been taken care of because having one is enough coming on that very busy corner, and there are too many properties in town here that have double egresses that could be replanned differently for safety purposes. And this is one area, so that's a positive for your plan. The other was the fencing on the north and south side of the property. As you know, it's going to be in between two very busy commercial outlets. And I'm wondering if that fencing is going to be looked at and maybe provide a little bit of a visibility blockout or any, or are you planning just leaving the fencing the way it is?
Well, the existing fencing that's there, I was going to leave it there. I'm possibly going to put a fence across the front. And then on the Stinson side of the property, which would be the south side, it's going to be 3 individual small little backyards, and they're going to be fenced there, sort of thing. And then the building is actually going to be have a soundproofing all the way around it with triple pane windows so that the sound doesn't come in from both sides, sort of thing.
Well, this is a positive. I mean, Councillor Keel mentioned about the high prices, the high rents that's going on in the community. This is the kind of building that's going to drop, that's going to assist. There's a real need for these small rentals for old men like me who become alone, and they'd like to have a place to go to and don't want to go to the long-term care. So those are the kind of spots that you're looking for, and it'll be reasonable. So I certainly support this particular plan.
Thank you. Any further comments? Do we have a motion to, yes.
I just have a quick question.
Yes.
And like I support the application, it's out of curiosity. I see 3 units on the plan, but it's 6 units that will be up for rental. I don't remember this building being a 2-story building.
No. Actually, it has a very deep basement. It's a very deep basement, yeah. Yeah, so 3 in the bottom and 3 up top, sort of thing.
Okay. Can we have a motion to accept? Seconder, Marcel, or yes, all in favor? Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Okay, past decision update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this committee's last meeting of November 27th, a single application was heard for a minor variance, file A-15/2023 for 929 McKay Street. This application has passed its 20-day appeal period and is now considered final.
Good. Thank you very much. The next meeting is slated for March 25th, 2024. Is this going to be okay with everyone? Okay. Ask for a motion to adjourn. Ian, you'll say all in favor. Away we go. Thank you very much. All.
That's good stuff.
Bye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.